Whew. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I can do this. I can do this.
It's the Angels and the White Sox. Later, it's the Rangers and Padres at 9:30 Eastern. Don't miss a pitch. Only on MLB Network. Download the MLB app, then watch MLB Network all day.
It's on a Bobby Witt Jr. home run. Bottom of the third, and we're talking with Royals owner John Sherman. I want to continue what we were just talking about in culture. When you made a change at general manager a few years ago, I think it would be expected that if you're going to make a change like that, that you might just clean house, as they say, and just, a fresh start with new faces. And you didn't do that. I mean, you kept the basic core of the front office. And I say this because we can see J.J. Picollo right behind home plate sitting next to Scott Sharp. And I'm wondering, as we were talking about culture last half inning, how much do you think that played into going from 106 losses in one year to the playoffs the next year?
Culture?
Yeah.
I think, well, first of all, JJ, we needed to make some changes, but I felt like JJ's career completely prepared him for this role. And, but he knew he needed to make some changes. And, sometimes it's hard to do by yourself. And he went out and got the manager he wanted, Matt Quatraro from Tampa, who brought Paul Hoover, the bench coach. We got Brian Sweeney, our new pitching coach, which is a completely revamped way we develop pitchers, and Zach Bode assisting him, and who came from the Twins. But, we don't want to be, I say this a lot too, we don't want to be like Tampa. We don't want to be like Cleveland. We want to be the Kansas City Royals of the organization. And if you think about it, I think it's the way we've been for a long time, right? Good pitching, defense, speed on the base paths that brings some pressure to the game, and then timely hitting. But back to your question, I think culture, it's extremely important. This is a tough game. These are professionals. But if you can bring a little extra, if you can get professional athletes to be excited to come to work every day because they like the environment, that's pretty special.
Yeah, and I should point out, too, as we're talking about JJ Matt Quatraro. Matt Quatraro's option was picked up for 2026, and JJ, you signed him to, normally we say this about a player, but you signed your general manager to a long-term contract.
Right. But, that was deservedly so, right? And you think about the body of work since he took over this role, and it wasn't under easy circumstances when he took it over. I mean, to deal with that 106 loss season, but he and Q were steady the whole way, and they never lost sight of helping these players develop. I remember being in the clubhouse the last day of 2023, and he was telling everybody goodbye before they pack up. And this is before the game. Remember, every at-bat counts, right? Every pitch counts. Don't take one off. And I think that's the kind of energy that you saw last year. That was, we had a few things go our way, but we had a lot of adversity during that year as well, like you do in any 162. But we found a way to get in. And then, I think the magic that happened in Baltimore, it's not just winning that series for our fans, but the fact that our guys stepped up and met the moment, that's now part of their DNA. And now they have higher expectations of themselves. That's kind of what I was talking about, the professionalism that I'm seeing around here.
I know the pulling onto the same end of the road. That's a great term. Some guys are not on the same end. Some teams aren't. Somebody's pulling from the middle. Someone's on the top or the bottom, but they're not on the bottom. You have to have everybody buy in. That's what I noticed watching this team last year.
Well,
They all pull for one another.
Q is really the key to that when you think about it. Game time, and they have a lot of confidence in his game planning. He's an unusual. I think he's unusual in the managerial ranks. He's got very high intellect and processing a lot of information, but he also has great relationships with the players as well.
Well, this guy lived up to his contract, didn't he?
I always like to watch this guy bat, but I'm happy to talk during his bat if you'd like.
Go right ahead, sir. Well, I mean,
No, but that was a big part of that offseason, Chip. You think about, we talked about, Cole Reagans and then adding depth to the rotation and bringing in the veterans, but signing Bobby. Bobby was going to be here anyway, but, he's going to be here anyway. That home run he just hit, that's not the first one I've seen out here, by the way. Was out here last week. It was a rainy day. I think it was cold. If I remember, he put it 450 feet straight away center field. And the ball was wet, as far as I can tell.
Right. He's special.
well, I was going to say, it would have been understandable that, he's still young enough to feel the weight and the pressure of a long-term contract like that. But he ended up, didn't bother him at all. The best season of his career by far.
I actually think it freed him up, the type of person that he is, right? He wants to play baseball. And he had really good representation, but a great dialogue during that whole process. And it's a part of the business that I think he knows we have to get it done. His team has to get it done, but I think he's freed up now to go ahead and play baseball, which is what he really wants to do.
And
loves to do.
Becoming a bigger, more important leader.
Yeah. But both by example and by the way he carries himself.
Royals are down in order in the bottom of the third. They lead 1-0.
Did you just pay with PayPal?
Yes, it keeps my info safe, even at the shady lemonade stand.
What are you calling shady, mister?
Oh, like this is fresh squeeze. Give me a break, Logan. I want to pay with you everywhere. Don't just pay. PayPal. Buying a car is kind of a big deal, but you use the Car Gurus app. That's a price drop alert. So the deals come to you. Oops. Big deals right when you need them. Car Gurus. Download the app today.
How do you sleep at night? On a mattress from Mattress Firm. So I sleep.
At the Upgrade Your Sleep sale, save up to $600 on Sealy and get a free adjustable base. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night.
Why are you walking so slowly? Makes the sea feel more cinematic. Greg, what's up?
Maybe not the best time to walk in slow motion.
It's the only time to walk in slow motion.
Can't get enough baseball? Get MLB Network today. Stream up to 15 live out-of-market games a week and 24/7 access to MLB Network's award-winning shows. Start streaming MLB Network for just $5.99 a month.
Follow MLB Network on social media and join the conversation.
Come celebrate the anniversaries of the 1985 and 2015 championships and watch the Cardinals and Royals. That's Friday, May 16th at 6:10. Grab a team ticket, take home a George Brett and Brett Saberhagen bobblehead with that iconic shot of Saberhagen jumping into George Brett's arms. And then on Saturday, May 17th at 6:10, the first 25,000 fans receive a 2015 World Series Championship replica ring. Royals.com/anniversary. And we had a great event last year celebrating 2014, and now we get to celebrate 1985 and 2015. That's it deep to right field. Renfroe is back. And Tyler Fitzgerald hits an opposite field home run against Wacha to tie the game at 1. And we were just talking in between innings, Mr. Sherman, that the team has done a really good job the past few years of not only bringing back Royals alumni, but the way those players have been presented to the current team in the clubhouse, so that they not only know the numbers, but they know how much that player meant to those teams.
Yeah, and really talking about the moment. You know, we're fortunate to have a couple World Series championships in this franchise. And in fact, I think it was the first week of camp this year, Edison Volquez came in. And Ned got up and told a story. I don't know if you remember this, but his dad died on the first game of the World Series in 2015.
2015. We all knew he did.
No, I know, but they told him about it, and he pitched that game and pitched well. And you know, just sharing those kinds of stories with our current players, that's pretty hard not to kind of be inspired about that. And so Ned introduced him, and he spoke himself. And I wasn't in there; I just was told about it. But pretty special stuff. And Q's been really intentional. I mean, I've seen Willie Wilson and Steve Busby and Dennis Leonard just last week. Joaquin Soria has been in here. Obviously, George is here a lot. Michael Moustakas came in and announced he's going to retire as a Royal. I think it's in June. So a lot of things to celebrate.
Yeah, Ned's sitting behind home plate, right behind JJ, and back with the team in an official capacity.
Right,
now.
right. Ned's been great. You know, Ned, you talk about that 106 loss season. I think that's the year we inducted him into the Hall of Fame, right? But he said, he gave me a couple pep talks during that season, which was actually meaningful to him. He was a very optimistic guy. But he came back for another event later in the year. I said, I need another pep talk. But he said, it'll happen. But his confidence about this team and this group and these players, he said, it'll happen, John. You just stay the course, work the process, and it'll happen.
He had a memorable speech shortly after becoming Royals manager. And I think it was 2011, 2012 when the young players were being called up, and he was asked to talk to the entire organization. And the line that everyone remembers is that Ned said, the days of you going to your car after the game and driving right out of the stadium without any traffic are coming to an end. This team is going to win, and people are going to come out to the ballpark. And you are not going to regret how much longer it's going to take to exit Kauffman Stadium.
I like that.
That was just a goosebumps.
I like that. You know, and you know, one thing about Q, what we did last year gives no guarantee that we'll be able to repeat it again. Right? We're starting over. On the other hand, you know, talking about Kauffman Stadium, we're going to have beautiful weather next Thursday. It's a sellout. I think we're going to start selling standing room only tickets either tomorrow or Friday. And, you know, we also got beautiful weather on Saturday and Sunday, which is really rare in Kansas City. You can't bet on this stuff. So I think it'll be a great opening weekend. We're taking on the Guardians. I think it's good to start with a division foe and kind of see where we're at.
Yeah, had a winning record against those guys last year.
We did. And so let's get that thing started against a division opponent. And then we go to Milwaukee and then back home for Baltimore. So it's not going to be an easy start to the season. Then after that, I think we play the Twins. So we're playing all playoff teams for about the first 3 weeks of the season. So it'll be a good test.
I remember a year ago we were here and we were talking about the importance of getting off to a good start. The Royals need a good start. For the many of the years I've been here, they've always been the Cactus League champions. You know, they have a great, spring training always. And then they would go north, and we would start 10 games under 500. It was just so hard to play catch-up when you fall behind. But last year, man, they came out, and they had a winning record in April. They did really good.
Yeah, HUD had a theory last year I've never heard before. You want to finish 500 in Cactus League play. Because there are no expectations after 500. You know, you don't have a great spring training, you have a bad spring training, and you can just transition into the regular year.
You know, maybe so. But, you know, I noticed last night, I think, Sam could probably answer this, but I think we scored the most runs of any team in spring training, either Cactus or Greenwood. Now, I said to somebody, it doesn't matter, doesn't mean a thing, but it's better than the alternative.
That's right.
And so, you know, winning, it can't hurt you, but it's nothing. You shouldn't overreact to it. I mean, you know, Michael Walker's had a couple outings. You know, he's out there working on things, and our veteran pitchers, you just don't know what. And then a lot of these games they're in late with, you know, AA.
Oh shit! I can put my face on here at the same time. I'm turning it off. Oh shit!
all anyone wants to talk about is Jack Caglione.
I thought you were going to bring
I mean, it's like, why wouldn't you? Well, I mean, first round.
Cracking Gar, what's up? I'm about to get this posted.
Spring, but I mean, that it just shows how much our fans care about our farm system.
It does. It is exciting for our fans. Now, we got to take this with a grain of salt, but did anybody tell you about the ball he hit today?
No.
Minor league game?
No.
I'll let Scott Sharp or somebody describe it. I
Okay.
think it was 117 miles an hour off the bat.
Awesome.
But look, I think JJ and the front office, they're doing the right thing with him. You got to give him a bigger sample size. In fact, it's really interesting. Like we were talking earlier today, Brian, baseball's a game of failure. You're going to want your players to experience that somewhere. And it's better really to experience it somewhere else than right here. And you're going to have it here. You're going to have your ups and downs. But he's a very exciting player. I think we can dream a little bit, but we got a heck of a squad out here. And, we'll certainly pull for him to be up sooner rather than later. But it'll be up to the brain trust down there in the front line.
And in regard to culture, what we were talking about earlier, that he seems to fit in great with the big league players.
He does.
Yeah.
He's got a maturity about him, maybe playing in the SEC. I was in the College World Series.
Get that shit out of the chat.
Brady Singer was a teammate of Jonathan India at the University of Florida. They played great baseball. And Brady and Jonathan are both guys that were pretty early on prepared to play at the highest level. And I think when you have that kind of a background in your college experience, that he wants to pitch maybe in the future, but he's hyper focused on his bat skill right now.
For having the 6th pick over that 2 years ago, I thought we should have had the 1 or 2. And I remember JJ, I called him. I said, JJ, why are we 6th? And it was all by the lottery or whatever. I go, man, that's a crock. And so he's like, I'm a little disappointed, Hunt, but we'll do okay.
The lottery is the lottery. Nothing you can do about it, right? I'm not a big fan of it, but
if you end up with Jack Caglione.
I was thinking, look, guys, we're going to get a pretty good baseball player at number 6, right? And it turned out, even better than.
Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm adding a bunch of BCW supply shit into my store right now. I'm here. Thank you for popping in. Starting at $2 random team for the first break here. It's going to be oh, they left. All right, I'll go fuck off.
And to clean better, so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Something about the way we're working just isn't working. When you're caught up in complex pay requirements, or distracted by scheduling staff in multiple time zones, or thinking about the complexity of working in Monterey while based in Montreal, you're not doing the work you're meant to do. But with HR, pay, time, talent, and analytics all in one global people platform, you can do the work you're meant to do.
We're Mizuho. Sound familiar? Financing the aluminum giant, building better homes? Mizuho was there. The merger of 2 logistics titans? Also us. Anywhere an industrials company needs a corporate and investment bank, we're there. Mizuho Americas.
Verizon and AT&T announced price hikes a total of 10 times in the past 2 years. Families can switch to T-Mobile and get all the benefits of their plans while saving 20%. T-Mobile blows the competition away.
When choosing the right gear to cut, trim, or mow your yard, Ace has all the power you need to get the job done right. Because gas or battery, your local Ace is the destination with the best power brands all under one roof, like Steel, Ego, Milwaukee, and Toro. And with free assembly and delivery or ready for pickup in 15 minutes. Conquering your outdoor projects has never been easier. Around the block, what you need in stock, with service so good it's guaranteed.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Download the MLB app, then watch MLB Network all day.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated.
Think your taxes are simple? You can file for free with H&R Block. More people qualify for H&R Block free online than TurboTax Free Edition. Find eligibility requirements at hrblock.com/free. Approximately 55% of filers qualify.
For the Giants, Ricky Pasquantino had a home run swing, 0-1 against Jordan Hicks. He popped out to Fitzgerald in the first inning. So we're spending some time with John Sherman talking about culture. They're trying to rebuild now, bring it back up to football. Right in the middle of all those championships. Gibbs makes a nice play. President of baseball operations. He got back into the game last season. People thought he was
At MLBShop.com, you can get all the latest officially licensed merchandise for you and your family. But if you really want to level up your game, you can grab something for your dog walker, your Pilates instructor, your swim coach, your neighbor, your accountant, your gardener, your best friend, your family, your boss, your kid teacher, your mailman. Visit MLBShop.com and stock up on officially licensed on-field merchandise from your favorite team.
Opening on MLB Network. March 27th.
MLB Network wants to hear from you. Follow MLB Network on social media to join the conversation and get more from your favorite shows.
Bobblehead. Make a minimum $75 donation at the Kansas City Royals Foundation. Bobblehead is only available in the stadium at the 50/50 raffle office or the 50/50 kiosk. Also used at the Kansas City Royals Foundation. Junior has homered tonight. Putting the Royals in front 1-0. And then Tyler Fitzgerald tied the game with an opposite field home run in the fourth against Michael Wacha. Only given him 2 hits. Hicks has only allowed 2 hits. Yeah, these guys have hit their spots. That first inning, the Royals, they were all over. That George Hicks kid, they were hitting the located a lot better now. The first inning woke him up a little bit. And Michael struck out the first 3 as bad as the game. On his side there at the first, but he's in his spots as well. Kind of what managers want to see this time of year with their starters. They want to see some guys, get some outs. So many times starting pitchers don't really care about results, especially early in the spring. And I've shared this story about this many times before. John Smoltz is a Hall of Famer, that's why I use his name. He threw fastballs, and we shared the complex with the Expos there in West Palm Beach. So it was great in the Expos. We played a lot of games together. And I used to wear him out in the spring. I would hit doubles,
P. Young, what's happening?
You might have made a couple of teams though because of how you hit on your right. It is hard to, if you're a 25th, 26th, 27th guy on the roster right now, especially this time of year, and you're walking in that clubhouse on a business team, and you're very sensitive to the touch. I think I've shared this with you before too. Because if you're sent out as many times as I was in my career, I would be sensitive to the touch on my back. Because you're looking at your locker, and usually the manager will set the coach out and tap you on the back of the shoulder and say, hey, manager wants to see you. So that's sensitive, that touch. You don't want to feel that touch. But, you go in there and immediately go into your body language reading mode, and you go in the door, and you can tell by looking at him if they're going to send you out or not. You knew? Yeah, before he opened his mouth, right. I can tell. I remember Dusty Baker sent me out one year I was with the Giants. And you say, have you ever seen my numbers against John Smoltz? No, because it was spring training. We don't count this. But I remember Dusty Baker, Wendell Camp came out, back on the shoulder, and I walked in. And I'm a veteran player at 36, 35, 36. It just came back from Japan. Didn't really know what I learned there. It's okay. But Dusty Baker, I go to the office and he's standing up behind the desk. He didn't look real comfortable. And Bob Quinn and Joe Madden sit down. And he said, well, it's not a good time right now. But it's the young players. Waka struck out the side, by the way.
All right, Tracy, let's say Glenn is a customer. What do we do?
Protect what's important to him.
How do we do this?
We help with cars.
Oh, well,
RV cover.
great, that's all right, covered. You never know what life is going to surprise you with at 90 miles per hour.
Did Coach say 90? Push him up there.
You've got this, Glenn.
Am I going to feel this? I felt that. For savings and service, get more from Geico.
Oh, yes.
We all love the big moment. The big moment doesn't start with the big result. It starts with yard work. The big moment is just one moment forward by 1,000 moments. Throughout the Major League Baseball. You're up. Go yard.
Download the MLB app. Then watch MLB Network all day.
He's got a tap on the shoulder, but not the one that Hud was talking about. He got the attaboy. And Hunter Harvey is warming up behind, and Encarnacion makes a play in left field. Hunter Renfroe is out, but you're telling me that Waka's numbers were not very good in spring training coming into tonight, but no one's really concerned about that because you trust the veteran to get ready at his pace, especially at this stage in his career. He gives up just one run on 2 hits over 5 innings tonight. He struck out the side twice. There you go. And Jordan Hicks has only given up 1 run, 2 hits. Strike 1 on Freddie Fermin.
Boy, he's been consistent with his 96, 97 mile an hour fastball.
Up the middle, Fitzgerald. It's a nice backhand play. It throws out Freddie. 2 down. Fitzgerald has homered tonight for San Francisco after hitting 15 last year. So there's Hunter Harvey getting ready for the top of the 6th inning. And we're going to be joined by Royals general manager J.J. Picollo. Ball one on Michael Garcia, who lined to center field in the second inning.
You know, you were talking about the organization awards. Michael got the biggest ovation I heard in that whole like 700 players because he passed the English exam that's given by Monica
Ramirez.
Ramirez,
Who's the star of the show, by the way, when we do the organizational meetings.
Oh, that's great.
Organizational awards.
And I heard that he got a standing ovation. They were so proud of Michael.
The award is certificates for Latin players who scored 90% or higher in their English exam, and I believe Michael was the first at the major league level to win that award.
So cool.
And he takes a strike, and it's a great event. The team, for years, has just done a wonderful job of bringing everyone together. The major league players are there, the major league staff is there, the front office is there. But when the Latin players start cheering on their teammates for winning that award, I mean, it is everybody's highlight. And so there's another award, the Carlos Fortuna Award, that goes to a minor leaguer for his not just play on the field, but his conduct off the field. And Freddie Fermin's won that award before. He went up there, HUD, and stood up there in English and helped present that award. And you could tell that he had prepared the night before and really wanted to do well speaking English. And both he and Michael Garcia have come a long way and do all of their interviews in English now. Yeah, so great. We'll chat with J.J. Picollo when we come back for the top of the sixth.
I'm not allowed to reveal the secrets of Jameson Black Barrel. It's carefully chosen select batch Irish whiskies, or its exquisite notes of toasted oak, caramel, and vanilla spice. It's the greatest whiskey I ever drank, and the greatest story I never did tell.
Use every man jack so you still sound good. Ride your mountain bike, but you still sound good. Fall down a mountain, but you still sound good. Late to see some friends, but you still sound good.
ACE's new Yard RX program prescribes the best lawn care, specific to your yard's needs, delivered every season. Because when you want greener grass, less weeds, and fewer bugs, now you can get a personal prescription delivered to you from the helpful folks at ACE. You'll get everything you need at our best price each season, guaranteed. From our store to your front door, with service so good it's guaranteed.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware.
Did you just pay with PayPal?
Yes, it keeps my info safe, even at this shady lemonade stand.
What are you calling shady, mister?
Oh, like this is fresh squeeze. Give me a break, Logan.
Or pay with you everywhere.
Don't just pay. PayPal.
Dreams begin here. Welcome to the Good Night Club.
Opening week on MLB Network begins March 27th.
Follow MLB Network on social media and join the conversation.
Royals general manager J.J. Picollo is going to join us. And we had you on early in spring training when especially the veterans are just kind of on their own pace. They know how to get ready for the big league season. And now we're a week and a day away from opening day, and Michael Wacha clearly was getting himself ready for the regular season tonight.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was about as well as a guy can command the ball every pitch. He was right on the corners. He was down. His changeup's so good. I mean, it amazes me that hitters know it's coming, and they just can't handle it. And he commands it so well. I mean, he's able to front door, back door, change speed as well. It's a gift that he has, and he's always had it. Going back to his Texas A&M days, he always had that changeup.
Man, well, last year, he was new to our organization, and I was telling our fans that, hitters go up there, some guys that are predominant changeup guys, you can sit on it and hit it. If you forget about the fastball, any other pitches, you wait for the change, but his moves so much, has downward movement and a little bit of cutting action. At times, you can't hit it, you know it's coming even. That's how great it is.
That's certainly what it looks like.
Oh, man.
Never stood in big league batter's box, but they know he's throwing it. If you're sitting on it or not, I mean, unless he leaves it up, he's not going to get hit. It's off the barrels or swing and miss.
Hunter Harvey has come on for the Royals, facing Tyler Fitzgerald, who is homer for the Giants. And we've covered the starting rotation, which was the second best in the major leagues last year. I mean, you wanted to improve the rotation, you certainly did that. But now, as far as the bullpen goes, the bullpen has a much different look on opening day as it did last year.
Yeah, it's much deeper. There's definitely more power, and we started addressing that back in July of last year, the deadline, with Hunter Harvey being the first that we were able to acquire, and obviously Lucas Urzay after that, and able to finish it off this offseason with Carlos Estevez. So it's throwing Nick Zerpa and some of the others that we have in the bullpen. It's definitely should be a strength of our club.
Now, Harvey wasn't able to help us as much as you would have liked after the trade, and was it a back?
Yeah.
Back of his shoulder issue that never quite healed up his. I mean, he's pitching in a game this late in spring training, but is that an area of concern at all this year?
No, he did a lot of work. He took a little bit more time this offseason just to rest and let it all calm down, and then got going. But his velocity here, his delivery, it's been good. Commanding his pitches well. This certainly looks more like the Hunter Harvey that we had scouted and seen for many years. Through a couple different clubs in Washington most recently. So just happy to see him out there on the mound because we know he's going to be a great addition to that pen.
Pitching coach Brian Sweeney was telling me he's working on throwing a slider, a harder slider that gives it a little different elevation. So get those hitters' eye level up and then work that splitter. Well, that takes the beauty.
That's his pitch. So if something else can help set up that split and take some pressure off just having a fastball and a split, it's certainly going to help. And Brian and Zach Bove and Mitch Stetter, they all do a great job in getting these pitchers what they need and adding to things that they already have. And it's certainly very helpful for pitchers. And when guys get to certain points in their careers, they want more. They've been around the league. They know they have to keep progressing, adapting, making changes so they can still be effective.
I mean, what a compliment to teach a 10-year veteran, Michael Wacha, a slider that he's never thrown before. Last year, they helped him shape it. They gave him confidence to do it, and he went out to do it.
Yeah.
We'll continue with JJ after this play by Salvi over at first base. The Giants go down in order in the sixth.
Can't get enough baseball? Hit MLB Network today to stream up to 15 live out-of-market games a week and 24/7 access to MLB Network's award-winning shows. Start streaming MLB Network for just $5.99 a month.
All new in Road to the Show. Earn tokens and strategically invest in your path to 99 progression. Pave your path from high school to the majors in Road to the Show and for you. Immerse yourself with the first-person fielding camera. Trigger new QuickTime events. Test your reflexes on hotshot ground moves. Sprint into directional analog base running. And master the swim move to experience baseball like you've never played before in MLB The Show 25.
Rated E for everyone.
It's a Thursday triple header on MLB Network. Leading off are the Phils and Braves at 1 Eastern. Then at 4, it's the Angels and the White Sox. Later, it's the Rangers and Padres at 9:30 Eastern. Don't miss a pitch. Only on MLB Network. Download the MLB app. Then watch MLB Network all day.
We are just over a week away from opening day. The Royals will host the Guardians on opening day. You'll see it here on FanDuel Sports Network. Coverage from Kauffman Stadium begins at 2 with a special 1-hour pregame show, including opening day ceremonies. Opening day at Kauffman Stadium next Thursday on FanDuel Sports Network.
Weather's supposed to be nice, huh, JJ?
That's what I'm hearing. Okay. I'm hearing it's going to be great, especially that Sunday in the 80s.
How about the whole weekend then?
Yeah, well, that certainly helps. There's nothing worse than a cold, miserable, wet opening day.
Come on out to the ballpark, everyone, and get soaked and freeze to death.
Not this year.
Hey, JJ, we spent a lot of time with Mr. Sherman talking about culture and He believed that when it was time to make a change for GM, that there was still a strong culture in place, and most of the core of the front office remained. And you signed a long-term contract extension this past offseason. Congratulations on that. He spent some time praising you and your staff for getting through a difficult 2023 season with 106 losses. Blanco is down on strikes, one away, but I want to give you an opportunity now to tell everyone what Mr. Sherman meant to you during that 106-loss season.
Yeah, I'm glad you're asking that because he was very supportive. It's the first year that I'm really working closely, with John. I mean, speaking every day, communicating, and there were a lot of challenging months in that season. Just really up until the end, it was challenging all the way through. We played fairly well in August and September, but he was very supportive. A lot of times John will just ask, "Hey, how can I help? What do you need?" And that's very reassuring to not only myself and our entire front office, because it was clear that he knew where our club was. We were still disappointed with the outcomes, the results of that season, but we saw some growth in the club. But early, I would say midpoint, we started talking about our pitching staff and how can we improve our pitching staff. And I could tell at that point he was very much on board with what our plan was. We had a shared vision.
Good timing with Jonathan India hitting one to the wall in left center field. And now we saw McRae stumble, and he's going to end up at third base with one out. We'll probably have to go back and talk about him, but I'll let you finish the thought about Mr. Sherman.
Yeah, I think when I realized, midway through 23, we did share a vision for what we needed to do, not only with the team, but also from a cultural standpoint. How do we keep morale high? What are the things we can do? How can we stay positive? I think just having the major league staff in place that was finishing their first year, and I thought they did great things, as crazy as that sounds, with the results. None of us were happy with the results, but they did some really, really great things for us in putting processes in place. And there was a lot of positivity internally about where we're going and optimism. Of course, when you have this guy at the plate on your team, you should be very optimistic about where your team's going. So we were just really appreciative of the support, the open conversations, and being able to know that we're on the same page.
We'll have a play at the plate, and India is going to be out on the contact play. 2 down.
Speaking of open, sure did help that he opened up his wallet.
Oh, he's got some of that.
Yeah, man. Hey, that's some outstanding moves. Every move that you guys made, there was a need that was fixed. And then I remember last year at the beginning of spring training, you talked about the importance of a power arm, a right-handed power arm or left-handed. But we lacked that. We're going to try to work on that. And sure enough, now you've built a tremendous bullpen. We got 3 power arms, and then you need a leadoff hitter, and you accomplished that by getting India. So great work on the personnel that you're bringing in here to bring back a win to Kansas City, JJ.
Well, I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of good people working together, a lot of collaboration. Whether it's R&D department, pro scouting department, others that go out and evaluate players. Part of our acquisition process is not only the talent of the player, but who fits our clubhouse. And that was one thing that was really apparent, not only through the offseason, what we were trying to do, but more so when we got to spring training, and then you see all these guys in the same clubhouse. And I believe we're a team that's going to have to win on the margins. We're more of a sum of our parts type of club. We got to play good baseball. We got to weather the storms. And when you have guys with great makeup in your clubhouse, you got a better chance to get through that. There was no finger pointing last year. We went through some tough times the second half. Well, really from late August on, we went through some tough times, losing 7 straight. But the one thing that was very consistent in our clubhouse was just keep pushing. All the veteran guys knew that this is part of a long season. This is what happens. So don't worry about the losses. Just keep your eyes focused on the next day, and let's get back at it. But the character in the clubhouse is big, and we know that. It's just hard until you see it come together, until you live with the guys that signed or acquired. You don't really know until you're there. And last year, Michael Walker pitched tonight, Seth Lugo, Will Smith, Chris Stratton. I mean, all those guys, they're just professionals. And then you throw Jonathan India in the mix this year, he fits right in.
He told me today But I asked him, what do you like? I like my teammates, they're gamers and everything. And he goes on and on. He's talking about his new home and a new clubhouse. And I said, well, what's the most important thing? He says, I love their culture of winning. Okay, that's a big season we had last year. But already the culture's developed. It's beautiful. He's comfortable. He can feel it. Players feel that when you come in an environment like that.
So he was very excited when we made the call to him to let him know that we had acquired him. Of course, Cincinnati had spoken to him already. That was the first thing he said to us. It was actually like 2 o'clock in the morning in Italy. He was in Italy, but he answered the phone, and he was very excited. Knew a lot about our team. What he didn't know at the time was that we had traded his good friend and former roommate, Brady Singer. So a lot of what he knew about our team came from Brady. Just a little bit of irony there. But then having a chance to talk to him through the offseason, visiting with him at his home in Miami, he's a winner. He wants to win. He's past that point. I'll talk a lot about different phases major league players go through. The first one is, do I belong? The second one, I know I belong. And the third one is, I just want to win. And in 4 years in the major leagues, this being his fifth, he wants to win. He's through all those phases. We certainly look forward to what he's going to do for us this year.
Back South, what's up?
Opening week on MLB Network begins March 27th.
All right, Friday, let's take men in the traffic. What do you think? How do you see? We help with cars. Oh, RV coverage. Great, that's all right. Because remember, we're launching from the starting at 90 miles per hour. Did Coach say 90? Push him out there. You've got this, Ed. Bring it up the other. I felt that. You okay?
For savings and service, get more with Geico.
Oh, he's moving.
Ace's new Yard RX program prescribes the best lawn care, specific to your yard's needs, delivered every season. Because when you want greener grass, less weeds, and fewer bugs, now you can get a personal prescription delivered to you from the helpful folks at Ace. You'll get everything you need at our best price each season, guaranteed. From our store to your front door, with service no good is guaranteed.
Dreams begin here. Welcome to the Good Night Club.
Spring's in full swing on MLB Network. Recap the day with MLB Tonight. Catch up on today's news, highlights, and even hear from the players themselves.
I want to win the World Series. I want to do it in Kansas City.
MLB Tonight. Coverage continues through opening day.
Follow MLB Network on social media and join the conversation.
We're talking with Royals General Manager J.J. Picollo, and looking back on last year, we were talking about how much the bullpen is better this year compared to last year. But if there was a such thing as a most valuable reliever in the first half of the season last year, it's probably this guy right here.
Took the ball every night. And he added energy to the clubhouse, leadership. This guy just likes playing baseball. And he did very well for us.
Royals have made several defensive changes, including Luke Maile behind home plate. Infield stays the same, but some changes in the outfield. So there's the veteran Luke Maile. JJ brought up not finishing strong last year, and as I was preparing for the Giants, I was reminded that they were the last team we played at home in what was an 0-6 final homestand. We scored 1 run in 3 games in the Giants series, and so there's no way around looking at last year and not seeing it as just a complete success story. I mean, historic turnaround, but it wasn't a straight line to the playoffs, and that was a frightening finish to the home schedule.
No, it really was. And just a couple weeks earlier, we went through such a up and down week. We went into Cleveland, we were down 3, we had a 4-game set, and in the first 3 games.
Junior makes a nice diving play, and over to Salvi for the out.
So, after the 3rd game of the series, we tied for first place. We were down 10 games at one point in Cleveland, and we were about on as much of a high as you can possibly be. And then we had a 4-1 lead in that 4th game, and we didn't hold on to the lead, lost that game. And of course, the next night in Houston was when Vinny broke his thumb, and we lost 6 more after that. Got back on track a little bit, but then we were happy going back home. You're back home. We got a chance to finish this thing off. Put ourselves in a great spot before we went on the road to clinch it pretty easily, and had about as tough a homestand as we could possibly had. So that's the ups and downs of the season, though. It's the season's fragile. It can change in a moment's notice, and that's why you never sleep well at night.
And Bobby shows off his range again. Should get an outfield assist for that. He's 2 down. Interesting. I asked Mr. Sherman, we were talking about Bobby, and I said, it would have been understandable for Bobby to feel the weight of that contract last year, get off to a slow start. I mean, and he said, I think it freed him up.
Yeah.
That's you don't usually hear that when a young player gets a long-term contract.
Yeah, I think Bobby's so confident in his abilities that he doesn't think about the dollars. I just really, certain players, that's part of their thought process with Bobby. I say this in a very humble way about him. I think he knew the money was coming. Like, he's going to be a really good player, make a lot of money in the game. What was more important to him was who's around him, can we win? And if I think that we can win here in Kansas City, I want to be here long term. And of course, before we signed the extension was when we went on that run in December, signing a bunch of free agents, and I think that excited him.
Dubman plus care.
Welcome to the team. Thanks. That's the finger ball.
Dubman helps neutralize odor-causing bacteria that thrive when stress sweat.
Really needs more salt.
Get comfortable. Uncomfortable. Hair changes everything.
Use every man jack so you still sound good. Ride your mountain bike, but you still sound good. Everyman Jack aluminum-free deodorant with many naturally derived ingredients so you can play.
It all starts here. A new beginning for a game that just created a masterpiece where Dodger Blue rewrote the history books. A golden arm tossed rookie records aside. And a red flash stole his way to start. Now, the canvas calls for fresh strokes of greatness, where big names step back between the lines. Bigger expectations come back to the Bronx. And the biggest off-season prize now wears a different shade of blue. Everyone's ready for this show. It's time to unleash the colors of the 2025 season as baseball's next masterpiece comes to life.
Download the MLB app, then watch MLB Network all day.
Bobby Witt Jr. made 2 nice defensive plays. And 2 spring trainings ago, JJ, you committed a full season to Bobby Witt Jr. for shortstop because there was not a consensus into the organization whether he was the answer a long time at shortstop. He was, and now he's got a gold glove.
Yeah, I think we knew he had the ability, but he was so athletic. And I think because he's able to play at a different level, there were some mistakes being made that gold glove shortstops don't make. We knew he could make the spectacular play. It was a matter of making the routine plays, turning double plays properly. You can remember when he's coming across the bag unnecessarily, throwing off balance and making some errors. And they're young mistakes, but we really need to see him, clean that up, I'll say. And we also have Maikel Garcia, who's a very good shortstop as well. So you start thinking, how do we get our best
best athletes in the middle of the field. But Bobby certainly answered the bell. I think Jose Aguisil did a wonderful job with him, talking about his reads and his breaks and his direction, getting depth off the bat, reaction time, and you just saw it all come together last year. It was almost like his confidence just grew, too. It was almost like he was hunting those great plays and making them.
Let's not forget how fast the Major League game is. And he coming from the minors, and he was playing shortstop, and he couldn't slow everything down. Everything was speeding up on him. You could tell his timing wasn't right. And, you know, that just takes time. And so the fact that you guys were patient with him, you stayed with him, you helped him become the Gold Glove shortstop that he is.
Well,
without moving him.
Yeah, no, we gave him playing time. He did all the work. I mean, let's not take anything away from Bobby. He did the work, and, again, Jose did a great job with him. But Bobby wants to be great at everything he does.
Salvi's first hit tonight.
And I don't think he's ever going to settle not being the best in the batter's box, in the field, on the bases. He's just driven like that. That's part of who he is. And I'm just glad he's in our uniform and playing for us, because he's fun. Aside from being really good, he's a lot of fun to watch play tonight. There's a lot of innocence about the way he goes about the game. It's a pleasure to watch him.
That's good. I mean, one of the top 3 players in the game. I mean, I can't. I mean, Shohei Ohtani is a freak of nature as far as baseball goes with pitching and hitting. But you know, Judge and Junior, we're right there at second and third best players. That's quite a compliment.
Yeah, no, I think that speaks for him. Coming in second place in MVP voting. You can't take away anything from what Judge did. I mean, it was just an incredible year. And Bobby, you know, I think, you know, in our opinion, impacts the game. You know, from the offensive side, the defensive side, the base running. So when you're talking about the most well-rounded player in the game, I don't think you're going to get much argument around the industry. That Bobby, if you were starting a team, I think most people would probably say start with Bobby.
Hey, Weimer running for Salvador Perez at first base.
It could be a spot for Weimer. You know, if he makes the team, you know, that he can come in and pitch. He's a big guy. He's got good speed.
He does, and these are the kinds of things we need to see. When you talk about evaluating spring training, it's a 1-to-1 game, it's late, and there he goes. And
fouls it away.
And from an evaluation perspective, he may be out, he may be safe, but just seeing him having the fearlessness to go there is what we need to see. He's flying to the plate, catcher making a good throw, a catch and a tag, all those things come into play. We want guys to be aggressive when it's an opportunity to steal, and that's something we want to see out of Joey, so it's great to see him run there.
He's got a big lead over at first base. And he's going. The Giants pitch out, and Weimer is going to be out at second base.
Well, for your team, JJ Narrola, to be ranked second among all 30 teams this spring with 42 steals, that's pretty impressive in 26 games. So obviously, the pedal's being put to the metal. You get a pitch out, perfect throw. If that throws up or off, he's safe.
That's right.
That's a good jump and a good. That's what you're talking about.
That's the risk you're going to need to take to win ball games. You know, again, that's how we want to play the game. You know, that's very intentional. The number of stolen bases we have this spring, and it needs to continue throughout the season because it's the brand of baseball that we're most comfortable playing. And you put pressure on the defense when you have Weimer running, Blanco running, whoever, Bobby running, Michael running. You know, you've seen the pitchers, they get too concerned with the run game. They're not making quality pitches, and now you're hitting and knocking runs.
Leaving cookies over the middle, and also as a defensive player, shortstop especially, when you got guys that run hard out of the batter's box, it puts pressure on you to field the ball, to get the ball over there, and if you look up, the guys are 10 feet from the bat, you goose the throw, pulls him off, that's a rally.
That's right. Catchers feel it too. You know, catchers, when they know that guy's running down there, they're feeling it. They want to call fastballs because they want to get a chance to throw the guy out. So it's a dimension of baseball that I think not enough teams play the game that way. You know, having Rusty Cruz here for all the years that we have had him, it's always been emphasized in the minor leagues, and hopefully it carries through into the major leagues.
Kevin Biggio's at the plate with Harold Castro at first base. And while we're talking about the roster, here's a couple of guys that have quite a bit of major league experience and are here as non-roster players. And Biggio, you've been playing him in the outfield.
Yeah, part of signing both he and Harold is that they have played all over the field, and having a left-handed bat may come into play here as we make our final decisions on the roster. But both have extensive time in the major leagues. Both have played multiple positions, and both are competing very well to make this club. And there's a lot of good discussions going on right now about all the different scenarios that come about in the 7th, 8th, 9th inning. How many times we're going to want to let another left-handed bat in the lineup? One thing we've taken note of is the number of starting left-handed pitchers in baseball is actually down, and certainly in our division, so that's got to factor in. But one thing that I shared with our staff today is we can't cover all the scenarios. We only get 13 guys, so we just got to figure out who best gives us the coverage we need and the matchups we want.
So, in discussing Biggio and Castro playing all over the field, if there was a question mark going into this year, I mean, the roster was in great shape, but how would Michael Massey handle playing the outfield occasionally? How would Maikel Garcia do in the outfield? How would Jonathan India do in the outfield, giving you a lot more options and more matchups? How's that gone for each of those three guys?
Yeah, they've all done fairly well out there, but they all still have things to learn in the outfield. So, and then when you think about playing the outfield here in Arizona, it's not the easiest place to evaluate guys. High skies, the ball carries. But then you think about playing left field at Kauffman Stadium or center field at Kauffman Stadium. It's a lot of ground to cover. So we've talked more about the positioning of them and how can we put them in a better spot now that we have a better idea who comes in on the ball well, who goes back on the ball well. It'll affect some of our recommendations on how we should position those outfielders. But I think we're still going to see a little bit of a mix of those guys going in and out, from infield to outfield. I don't think we want it to last all season. You like to have at least one guy settled. But again,
was that the hand or the bat? Luke Mailey's going down like it was the hand, but Logan Porter, a former Royal who's catching for San Francisco, thought it was the bat. And Luke Mailey wants to stay in the game. Matt Contreras out there to check on him.
He's a veteran. He wants to stay in, but this is nasty when it's around the head. Ooh.
Yeah, a little bit of both, maybe.
Been fortunate so far this spring, huh? I don't know if this is wood I'm knocking on.
Yeah, well, we're at that point in the spring where we're counting the days and the innings just to get out of here healthy.
Yeah, JJ, right now, if you ask most of them players, they'll tell you, let's go.
Yeah.
Well, the season could open next week. I'm leaving all these hits down here. And fortunately, Sally hasn't hit a homer because he's smart. This is what, it's his 14th spring? He says, man, they don't count here. Why would I hit one here? It's a waste.
He's not worried about that. I think he just wants to get his timing down, hit the ball hard somewhere, and he's going to hit his homers through the season.
But they're ready now.
Yeah, they are. I know today Kyle Isbell and Michael Massey went up to the minor league games, get some extra at-bats, and we may have one or two more guys who want to get a few more at-bats just for timing purposes. But, if our season starts tomorrow, these guys are ready to play.
With Mailey getting hit, and the last thing you want is an injury in spring training, but the depth didn't need to be tested much last year. It was mostly a healthy season. Hoping we have the same season this year, but how do you feel about the depth this year compared to last year?
Well, on the pitching side, we feel great. We had some tough decisions. Some guys we've optioned out already that we certainly have a lot of confidence in them coming up when they are needed, and they're going to be needed. Last year, you break here with 26. We used 52 guys last year, 31 pitchers and 21 position players. So you really do need an army. And, the opening discussion we have with the players is, hey, we'll break with 26, but, don't think for a second if you're in this clubhouse that you're not going to be called on at some point this year. And positionally, with the pitchers, we are deep and we feel good about that. And positionally, I think we're gonna have to make some tough decisions here, and we're gonna have to see what things look like. And some of these guys that are non-roster invites, if they're not on our club, they have potential to go somewhere else. So we may have to still do some work, but that's nothing different. You're always looking at depth. But as we said here today, we feel pretty good about it. We just know it can change a little bit here in the next 10 days.
51 players. Yeah, I always say 35 to 40.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Man.
That's kind of how many pitchers you might need.
Yeah, wow. I didn't.
And we were healthy, as Ryan said. We were extremely healthy.
And the Giants are going to turn a double play. So the Royals have the bases loaded, one out, and Tristan Beck gets out of it. JJ, thanks for your time.
Okay, guys,
Really
thank you.
appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming up. JJ, anytime.
Join the conversation. Follow MLB Network on social media and let us know what's on your mind.
Verizon and AT&T announced price hikes a total of 10 times in the past 2 years. Families can switch to T-Mobile and get all the benefits of their plans while saving 20%. T-Mobile blows the competition away.
The future, the way you see it, is said to depend on where you sit. At X-Chair, we think it also gets down to how you sit, which is why our technology is light years ahead. X-Chair has done it again with our groundbreaking Elemax technology, providing hours of infinite comfort, no matter where in the world you are sitting. By synthesizing the universe's elements, bringing hot, cold, and touch into one extraordinary seating experience. Our mission is to help you discover that every workday can happen with body and mind in an out-of-this-world place of comfort and productivity. X-Chair is charting a new course, helping workers everywhere find comfort as their work world zooms back and forth. We've got our eye on the future of work, so you can focus on the present. At X-Chair, we're gazing ahead, and from where we sit, the future still feels good. Elevate your space during our anniversary sale and enjoy up to $599 in savings with upgrades included.
Can't get enough baseball? Get MLB Network today to stream up to 15 live out-of-market games a week, 24/7 access to MLB Network, and live radio for all 30 clubs. Stream MLB Network with MLB at Bat for $6.99 a month.
Follow MLB Network on social media and join the conversation.
Royal Spring Training Baseball on FanDuel Sports Network is brought to you by Shelter Insurance. For your auto, home, and life, we're your shield, we're your shelter. Lucas Ursig comes on to pitch in the 8th inning in a 1-1 tie, following Michael Wacha, who gave up 1 run over 5 innings and struck out 8. And then Hunter Harvey and John Schreiber had scoreless innings.
Yeah, it's been a nice pitched game, nicely done. Wacha punched out the first 3 in his first inning.
David Villar fouls it away.
Okay, look for Urseg maybe here, Rhino. And this is an outing right here. As Sweeney was telling me before the game, I said, what is Urseg doing differently? Anything? He says he's trying to get him to throw that fastball higher in a higher slot. And then mix in that nice changeup like that. But the fastball up is what he wants. It elevates and it helps the off speed. So there's always something that these guys are working on, especially the brilliant mind that he has in Zob, and Stenner, his 2 assistants, the pitching coaches, shaping pitches, helping these guys, with the pitches that they have already. I mean, they're doing their job and then some. So when you have talent like this, it's amazing. And I said, okay, so when they went out and got Estevez, how did that make you feel? He goes, oh, first of all, I felt like it took a little pressure off of me, just because I didn't have to be the guy at the end. I mean, he said he's okay with the pressure, but to get another power arm, he says, man, we'll take it. So he, there wasn't any, oh man, I wish I had to myself. No selfishness amongst his team.
And it's pretty remarkable what he turned into in a short period of time after coming over in the trade. I mean, he's never been a full-time closer in the big leagues, and suddenly he's closing out playoff games for the Royals. And Chris Bubich, who's expected to start the season in the starting rotation, he was pitching the 8th inning. And he had hardly any bullpen experience.
Right. Pitched with confidence. I mean, look at that. That's 90. That's his slider. changeup there, but he got a 90-mile-an-hour changeup and a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. He's has a lot to work with.
Gale Enzoff is the new Royals catcher. And Drew Waters is out in center field, and he'll make the play for the second out. Luke Maile had taken over the inning before, but then he was hit by a pitch in the bottom of the seventh inning. And that'll bring up leadoff man Grant McCray. McCray has struck out 3 times tonight. And all 3 were against Michael Wacha. I'm sure Grant McCray is tired of this. And we brought this up when the Giants were at Kauffman Stadium last year. But his father, Rodney McCray, has one of the most memorable highlights you will ever see in a minor league baseball game. His father played briefly in the major leagues, but if you were to search Rodney McCray in the minor leagues, his dad, and this is an expression, he'd run through a wall for you, but he literally, in the minor leagues, ran through a plywood wall in a minor league game. How he didn't break his neck or get a concussion is a miracle. I wonder how many times Grant has had to tell whatever his father has told him about that story.
Yeah, you know, he went right through the wall. It was plywood, but you know, you could have ran into it like a stud where the pole is and hit the step, but he went right through the wall.
And his head was bent backward.
And he came walking out with the baseball.
Yeah.
I just looked it up, folks. Look it up. Check it out.
That is a little bit outside.
So I bet if you go up to Grant and you don't even have to get it all, the whole sentence out. If you say,
"Tell me the story," and you'll be able to fill in the rest of it. Yeah.
About your dad.
That is a foul ball off of Enzoff's glove. Still 3 balls, 2 strikes. And McCray, Grant that is, got to the big leagues last year for the first time. Played in 37 games for the Giants. He has all the tools to be a good center fielder and the speed to be a leadoff man. And he's going to take a walk with 2 down.
Yeah, the biggest thing for young players is to you know, just cut down on your swing a little bit. You know, try to get on base, especially if they're going to lead him off. His swing is a little bit too big. He's got a lot of swing and miss in it at times. Those are some of the adjustments he'll make.
1-1 in the top of the 8th. Solo home runs by Bobby Witt Jr. And the Giants hitter here, Tyler Fitzgerald, who homered to the opposite field in the 4th inning. Jr. had homered in the 1st for the Royals against Jordan Hicks. Good pitch. No balls, 2 strikes. McCray is running. And Enzoff's throw is going to end up in right center field. And McCray will go to 3rd with 2 down. That'll be a stolen base and an error, 2.
He got a great jump. Just a ball sailed on him.
And Imsov saved a run there with a block on a changeup in the dirt.
You know, this kid Fitzgerald, he's got pop, man. Reading up on him. You know, he joined Barry Bonds, Robbie Thompson, Jack Clark, Willie Mays as the only Giants to homer in 5 consecutive games since the team moved to San Francisco in '58. When you're a modern-day player, you got names like that you're in company with, that's pretty good. And he got their only run here in the 4th inning. There it is. Good inside-out swing there. Using right field. But for a middle infielder, that's incredible pop he's got. Beautiful. Kept his hands inside of it nicely.
And Ursic gets him with a slider. So McRae is stranded at third. Ursic strikes out 2. We go to the bottom of the 8th in a 1-1 tie.
Something about the way we're working just isn't working. When you're caught up in complex pay requirements or distracted by scheduling staff in multiple time zones, or thinking about the complexity of working in Monterey while based in Montreal, you're not doing the work you're meant to do. But with HR, pay, time, talent, and analytics all in one global people platform, you can do the work you're meant to do.
Spring's in full swing on MLB Network. Recap the day with MLB Tonight. Catch up on the day's news, highlights, and even hear from the players themselves.
I want to win a World Series. I want to do it in Kansas City.
MLB Tonight. Coverage continues through opening day.
Introducing the Big Board, the blueprint to your offseason. Be in charge for all the big moments as the GM. More realistic contracts and negotiations. Top free agents set the offseason pace, and big markets lead the charge. Fully updated defensive war to show just how valuable the best gloves in the game are. We've redefined how trades, prospects, and contracts come to life in MLB The Show 25.
Rated E for everyone.
It's a Thursday triple header on MLB Network. Leading off are the Phils and Braves at 1 Eastern. Then at 4, it's the Angels and the White Sox. Later, it's the Rangers and Padres at 9:30 Eastern. Don't miss a pitch. Only on MLB Network. Download the MLB app. Then watch MLB Network all day.
On your perfect ticket package with the Pick 10 pack. You can choose any 10 home games that work for you, including opening day. And take advantage of up to 15% savings on each ticket compared to the single game rates at theroyals.com/pick10. Lou Trevino will pitch for the Giants in the bottom of the 8th inning. In a 1-1 tie on home runs by Bobby Witt Jr. in the first inning and Tyler Fitzgerald in the 4th. Drew Waters steps in for the first time tonight, and it's 0-1. It'll be Waters, Nick Prado, and Jack Pineda scheduled to hit. Two and one.
Trevino, 6'5", 240. Man, he's a big guy. Check it out now. He's got 7 innings in. And he pitched for the A's a long time, and I'm sure he's a Bob Melvin favorite. Bo Mel is their manager here with the Giants. He's not here this evening, but throws hard.
Waters is down on strikes, 1 away. And Bob Melvin, who spent 1 year with the Royals as a player back in 1992. He is Bay Area through and through. Born and raised, he went to Cal Berkeley. played 3 years with the Giants. He managed the A's for 11 years. And the all-time winningest manager in Oakland A's history. And now he's in his second year managing the Giants. It's crazy. Great reputation as a players manager. Sure. Got our respect for him. We were talking culture earlier in the game when John Sherman was here and J.J. Picollo was here and talking about the Giants trying to reestablish their winning culture with Buster Posey coming on as president of baseball operations, but they had that great run of 3 World Series championships in 5 years. Larry Baer, Brian Sabian, Bruce Bochy, a lot of stability for a long, long time. And Prado is going to be down on strikes, 2 away. And there was a feeling that the Giants needed to be more analytically minded, and some might say that they went too far in that direction in their front office and in the dugout. And so you can't be analytically minded, or you cannot be without analytics in today's game. It's just a balance of how far you want to go one direction or the other, but it appears that they're pivoting more back to having a feel for the roster, a feel for the players, a feel for situations, using the analytics with a manager like Bob Melvin, who's always been a team builder, a chemistry guy. Buster Posey, who was there for all those championships as a player. Jack Pineda bounces it out to second base. And Lou Trevino gets the Royals 3 up, 3 down in the bottom of the 8th, and we're still tied at 1.
Sometimes the waves are calling your name. Other times you think the waves are calling your name, but actually it's the kids. Stay 2 nights, get a $50 Best Western gift card.
Any questions?
How did you become the Capital One Bank guy?
I've always been passionate about no fees or minimums on checking accounts.
Aren't you in the Hall of Fame?
Didn't you live in space? What's in your wallet?
We made a promise to our boy Blue that we would make the healthiest foods possible with the finest natural ingredients and real meat first. And that's our promise to you and your dog or cat. Because when you love them like family, you want to feed them like family.
Choose Advil Liquid Gels for faster, stronger, and longer-lasting relief than Tylenol Rapid Release Gels. Because Advil targets pain at the source of inflammation. So for faster pain relief, Advil, the pain away.
Okay, little Wendy's hack. If you want a super fresh, high-quality burger every time, tell them you want a hamburger. That's a hack, right? No? A hack-free burger made fresh for you? Gotta be Wendy's.
We all love the big moment. The big moment doesn't start with the big result. It starts with the yard work. Because the big moment is just one moment forged by 1,000 moments. Strauss and Major League Baseball. You're up. Go Yard.
Follow MLB Network on social media and join the conversation.
Bring your furry friends back to the park for some baseball. Bark at the Park returns on Friday, April 4th. It's a 6:40 game. The Orioles will be in town, and you can take home a Royals dog food mat with the purchase of a human and dog theme ticket. Presented by Underdog Fantasy. Visit royals.com/bark. You have to purchase a human and a dog ticket.
That's right.
As we've covered before, this is not doggy daycare. You can't drop off your dog and go to work or whatever. Come back and pick him or her up later in the day. Daniel Lynch will pitch the 9th inning. Elliot Ramos has been in there all night as DH. And Daniel Lynch and Chris Bubich were competing for a spot in the rotation, with the one who ends up in the bullpen having a good role in the bullpen, not a mop-up role. And both Bubich and Lynch proved last year that They could pitch out of the bullpen and